Welcome back, Megan.
Thank you. Happy to be back.
Happy to see you.
Thanks.
The first item on the agenda, besides welcoming Megan back, is approving the minutes. Thank you, Steve, for filling in with those.
It was Sarah, actually, who jumped in because I wasn't able to make the last. So thank you, Sarah, for subbing for me.
And well, you did the ones before, so thank you both for
welcome
taking over while Bronwyn was directing. Were there any comments or questions? And if not,
first go around and say who's here.
Sure. The attendees are Carolyn Coffey,
Linda Giacomo,
Steve Brown,
Megan Harvey,
Elaine
Breslow,
Bronwyn Nelson,
and Megan Brinzy is on mute and a video off, so she may be on her phone and incommunicado, but she is here. Anyway, so if there are any comments or questions on the minutes, please let me know. And if not, could I have a motion to approve?
so moved.
Second?
second,
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Well, I guess those that were there were able to approve, and they are approved unanimously by those who were there. Okay, Megan, take it away.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Remember how to do this. Here we go. Can everybody see my report?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So of course, a big thank you to Bronwyn for doing such an awesome job while I was gone. Seems like everyone has agreed, and the staff said that she was a great support to them as well. So thank you, Bronwyn. We just this week installed a story walk. It was a partnership with the South Shore Family Network. They had actually just done a story walk in Scituate in October for Halloween, and so they came here for kind of a winter Thanksgiving type book. So we've seen a lot of people come through, and we kind of set it up so it came from the playground, worked its way up to the library so that we could grab those folks who are there. And it's been very well received.
How long will it be up?
Just a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you explain really what is it? Like, what do they do?
Oh, sure. So a story walk is basically a picture book taken apart, and each stake has a page on it. So you walk up our walkway, and you get to read a page on either side as you go. So it's kind of a more like making reading more of a physical activity, making the library a destination in a different kind of way, which is something we're going to talk about through my report. We're really trying to focus in on how we can continue to draw people to the library in a fun way. Families are looking for things to do that are safe, and we're trying to fill that need. We are applying for a cultural council grant to have a more permanent story walk on the grounds, because we've already seen how excited people are about this clearly temporary walk. We'd like to put together something a little bit more formal, maybe not in the walkway that we're using right now. We were thinking, since Recreation has blocked off the connection between the two parking lots, we thought maybe we could use that, since it's blocked off, again, to draw people from the children's room down to the playground, because that's a kind of a normal walk for people. They come and check out the children's room, they head down to the playground, and having a story walk on their way would just make that travel a little bit more fun.
That's so cute. I love it.
It's fun. And we've had a lot of people already, which is great. It's just a different way to read. And, you know, some kids, everybody learns differently, and this is just another way to get a story out to the kiddos.
Do you have a feeling, excuse me, Megan, do you have a feeling of whether we're capturing more folks from rec? I guess, and Bronwyn?
Are we capturing more like from the playground, you mean?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, the way that we're operating right now with just curbside, you have to place an order in advance. So I would say we're probably drawing less people than we used to when it came from, you know, starting at the playground and traveling up. You know, people would come to a story time at 10 o'clock and then go down to the playground and have their lunch and play on the playground. And that was a whole morning activity for a family, or, you know, a nanny bringing some of their kids. So we're not seeing that as much because we don't have that live program going on, but we hope that when we're able to start everything back up again, that it'll just be an added bonus. All right. So since I've started started up again, our operations changed a little bit. We did move curbside inside pretty much my first day. It was a little bit of an impromptu, but our tent was damaged in a windstorm, and it was going to rain the next day. And we just said, you know what, it's time. We're calling it. We're going to bring it inside to the meeting room. So it's worked out really well. It's actually been less work for the staff because we don't have to bring things in and out anymore. I do think it was nice to have something outside again that shows that we were doing something, but we're trying to leave our front door open so that it just shows people that we're still here and, you know, things are still happening here, even though it's not our normal operations. So Governor Baker came out, as you all know, I'm sure, about basically getting rid of the 6-foot rule, and that we all need to wear masks in public spaces all the time. And that's difficult when you're working an 8-hour shift to have a mask on the entire time. So in response to that, I'm trying to create more private offices in the library. We're close to the public. And even if we open to the public, our meeting spaces are not going to be open for a long time. So spreading the staff into study rooms and the historical room and giving them their own spaces so that not everybody's on top of each other, but also, you know, it gives everybody an opportunity to take their mask down while they're working. It's not easy to have it on for so long, as I'm sure you all know. And what happens is people just become a little relaxed about it after a few hours, or after a week of wearing it around the same person. They kind of start to, as you all know, it just becomes a little bit more relaxed. So I just want to create an environment that we can all succeed in what we need to do to stay safe. So to do that, we're creating our private offices for now. It's a little bit of work, but we're just shifting technology and things like that so that everybody can be comfortable in their own spaces. This way also the CERC staff can spread out a little bit. Kristen and Bridget are both moving, so the CERC staff, somebody can be at the desk and somebody can be in the back workroom so that they don't need to be sharing the phone or anything like that. Sorry. I discussed with Christine, I believe last week, about reopening the library. What was the overall climate of the town? What was his expectations? It was in a meeting. The schools are starting to talk about opening up for an additional day, but there were some other signals that maybe the town wasn't ready to start reopening things more. So Christina and I came up with a plan that we thought was feasible and safe and would work out for everybody. So what we plan to do, I have a full reopening plan that I attached. But overall, the plan is 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, we're going to assess, which is really only a month away. We have a lot of work to do. We have to set up the library as a meeting space so that we can take appointments. We have to make sure that we have all the plexiglass we need. we need some questions answered, like, do we need to have public bathrooms open? Things like that. So, so after Thanksgiving, 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, we'll just do an assessment. Is Cohasset in a good place? How are our surrounding towns? As you all know, I'm sure Massachusetts has changed how they are assessing towns. You're not in the red as easily as you used to be. So hopefully we'll all be in a good place then, and we can move forward. And what will happen is we're going to start off very, very slowly and open one morning a week for 4 hours and one afternoon a week or evening a week for 4 hours, and accept appointments. So people can make an appointment to come into the main library. Families will be a little bit different. They'll be able to make an appointment in the children's room, one family at a time, because some families have 3 and some families have 6. So that's going to be by family. And then the rest of the library is going to be, we're going to accept 3 to 4 people at a time to come into the library for a 30-minute appointment. We're keeping the number low at first, because if we have somebody who wants to stay for 45 minutes to an hour, as the next shift of people come in, we're still not overwhelmed with the amount of people in the library, and we won't have to kind of aggressively police people's appointment times. So we're keeping the number low at first, just to see how people behave. We have had a few patrons, since we've opened curbside, sit in our hallway and between the meeting room, kind of where the bathrooms, the public bathrooms are, sit in the hallway and use our Wi-Fi. We'd really prefer people not to hang out at the library, which is a horrible thing to say. I can't believe I'm saying that, but we really want them to come in, get what they need, and leave. So this is kind of our way of testing the waters and see how things are going to go and how people are going to behave. You know, we have 1 or 2 problem patrons that might give us a hard time, and we just need to figure out as a team what our language is going to be to address that, and how we want to deal with folks who are not doing what we're asking them to do in a way that's as friendly and upbeat as possible.
So was that since you've opened up the meeting room for curbside pickup, or was that happening even though curbside pickup was really just exclusively outside?
Well, our front door was locked when curbside was outside, so we didn't have that problem. People did sit in their cars and use the Wi-Fi, which is more than welcome. Or, you know, we'd love for them to sit outside and use the Adirondack chairs. We'd prefer them not to sit in the hallway of the library. People are in and out. You know, we want people to feel comfortable coming in to get their books. I don't know how they feel about people sitting in the hallway.
Right.
So, we'll see what happens. I guess pulling the furniture hasn't completely solved our problem.
What's the reason that these troublesome folks give for why they're behaving the way they behave?
They just want to use our internet. They're looking for some place to be. You know, generally, you know, we've just said we're really just open for curbside pickup right now. You're welcome to use the Wi-Fi outside. It's worked. But it's interesting that there are people who are interested in pushing the boundaries a little bit.
Well, maybe the fire department could be called and find, is it a fire hazard to have people sitting in the hallway there in that small vest? Because it's a small
That's true.
vestibule.
That's true. I think if it starts to escalate, we can, you know, make a call in. For the most part, people have said, oh, okay. You know, oh, I was just going to be a quick minute, you know, or whatever. We haven't had anybody really fight us on it, so.
Oh, good.
Is the bench under the endowment board still there?
It's gone now. We did leave it at first. We knew we were taking a chance. We did leave it at first, but it has moved on, yes.
That should help.
I don't know if anybody got a chance to look at the plan, but if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Or ask them now if you've already read it, but I went through and highlighted phase 3 and 4 because I think there's a lot of text there. There's a lot to read through, and a lot of it we've gone through phase 1 and 2. So this way you can kind of jump to exactly where we are and read through that way. All right. On to some fun things. So we collaborated with Safe Harbor to do some coasters. Coasters are very inexpensive, and restaurants will take them, and it helps just promote us. So this is what we came up with. The front is Safe Harbor, and then we're on the back, showing a little bit that we have a sense of humor, which is nice.
That's cute. I like that. Legal age to enjoy a story is 0+.
I know, I love that.
Is responsible. It's
Nicole at Safe Harbor is absolutely wonderful. She's so easy to work with. So she had just been walking by, and I said, you know, I'm thinking about doing coasters, but I don't know if that's, you know, appropriate for your initiative. And she said, absolutely. And so I just put her on the front or the back, and then they paid for half of them. So it was great. So we'll be reaching out to the restaurants. We'll probably just be showing up on their doorstep with a pile of them. I can't imagine free coasters for them would probably be great. So can't see why there would be a problem.
Is that what was in the books, in the children's book bundles? I saw a picture of a little boy holding something. It was like a gift from the library, which he loved and so proud of. Is it possible that it was one of the coasters?
No, I know.
It was our logo.
Oh, you know, it was probably a craft bag. So our make and take crafts that we give out on Thursdays, they're bags, and it has our logo on it, and it says make and take. That could be it.
Yeah.
We just
It was
got
in
these
Sharon's
in.
report.
Yeah.
It was in Sharon's report.
Oh, yeah. Last week I attended a virtual marketing conference, marketing and communications, which was really interesting. It's been the good part about kind of the transition into virtual is that I feel like I can attend more things, which has been great. This isn't something, I believe generally it's in Chicago or California, so it's not really something I would have been able to be a part of, but since it was virtual, I was excited. Picked up a lot of good information about communicating through pandemic and kind of leading the staff and making sure that they feel safe and comfortable with their job, but also insisting that, you know, we move forward. And that's kind of where we are right now. You know, I can respect everybody's anxiety about being a front-facing person that works with the public directly. But at the same time, you know, we do have to start to move forward. We have to think creatively about how, you know, we can open up the library. You know, it's been identified, you know, when we closed, we didn't really know where the virus was or what was happening, if it was in the air, if it was coming, you know, coming from the sky, we didn't know. Now we do know, we know how to protect ourselves. So with those tools now we can reopen in a way that's safe. So that was part of it. And also marketing to the public about our next phases and how to do that so that people don't get confused about what the heck you're doing and making sure your PR is appropriate. I think we went to curbside. I think we were pretty clear when we went to curbside. I believe that went really well. We switched over to emails a couple weeks ago, and that's been a little back and forth. We were doing calls. Previously, we no longer can manage doing calls. Curbside is actually more work for us than being open to the public. So calling everybody individually, we have 1,000 circs a week. It just wasn't possible anymore. So the email thing has gotten a little, you know, so we just have people's wrong emails in our system or an email they just don't check anymore, things like that. So we're ironing some of that out. It hasn't been a travesty by any means. It's just a few patrons here and there. Holiday decoration preparation. So our last department head meeting at the library, we were talking in depth about what we can do to make this holiday special for people who, you know, were going to go see grandchildren or had other plans that were probably more exciting than their current plans. So we'd like to decorate the library a little bit more this year than we did last year. And staff would like to do a holiday card, which I'm thrilled about. They were a little bit hesitant about my corniness when I first started, and they have succumbed to my corniness now. So I found this to be really exciting. So we're going to do a nice holiday card with a nice picture of the library and the snow, and then a group picture of the library staff members who are interested in being a part of it, which is all of them, and wearing our matching masks just as kind of a hello. And that's going to go out to everybody in town, just to brighten everybody up, everybody's mood a little bit, and just remind them that, you know, we might have been closed, but we're still here, and, you know, we're still thinking of our patrons. We're also thinking creatively about
Megan?
how we could do, like, oh yeah.
Sorry. And where have you the cost for doing those things, and where are you gonna pull from to do that?
The cost of like the holiday card and the lights.
The holiday card and the lighting, yeah. And where were you thinking you would tap? Because, you know, obviously it's not something we've done before, so it hasn't been specifically budgeted for.
Yeah, so we do have some money still in our small library grant account that it just doesn't seem like we're all that well. And actually, some more money came into that account this is a whole nother topic, but last round we hadn't seen any money in that account for a long time. We thought it was a grant that went away, and in fact, the last round of state aid we received money again for small library grant. So we do have that little pool of money, and so that's where I'm pulling from. There's about $4,000 in there, and it's been there for a long time, and I think it's kind of time that we use it. Get rid of some of those grants that are sitting there that look bad when we go to budget time at town hall, and we've had grants that have been sitting for years and years. So I have been making an effort to try to clear some of those out. Before
well, I mean, yeah, but you know, we were strategically accumulating them in order to buy all that furniture and stuff like that. We were
state aid,
that
yes.
was supposed to be all of them. We were aggregating them for design fees and then implementing the design and everything else. So that's why they were sitting there.
Yep. Well, I think it was 16,000, right, Bronwyn, in our state aid account.
I think maybe 14, but somewhere in that range. I think
Okay.
I have it on the sheet.
They haven't rolled it over yet, so it's been kind of hard to detect, but there's still a lot of money in there as well.
Yeah.
You're at 16, you're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not looking to spend all of the $4,000, but there is some money there.
Okay.
We also have plenty of money in supplies and other places too.
Yeah, no, I personally am fine with it, but it is something, it's a reasonable expenditure, and I think we should, you know, make sure we know, you know, obviously we're gonna have to sign the warrant at some point, but we should know ahead of time before it comes up, and where you wanted it to go, since it is extra. So, you know, as long as nobody else has any reservations, great.
So I just have one question though. Has the Marshfield, Mary and Bright, have they given you an actual estimate? Do we know that yet, or?
Yeah, so the way that they work is they come in, they decorate the whole building, and they take it all down, they store it for you so that you can use it again the following year. So the first time that you do this, it's on the more expensive side because you're purchasing all the lights. As we do it in years moving forward, it won't be as expensive because it's just the labor. So it's $3,100 to do the edging of the entire library and the bushes, because if we're purchasing the lights as well and some of the trees on the outside.
$3,100 is a lot of money.
It is, but we're also in a year that, you know, we're not going to be spending a ton of money on supplies. We're not going to be spending a ton of money on programming. There's a lot of things that we're not purchasing this year, and I don't think it's a bad thing for the reputation of the library to show a little cheer, and especially in a time that's not so great. you know, as you all know, our reputation is that we're very serious, and that, you know, I don't want our reputation to be right now that we're closed or we're not fulfilling any needs. So I do think that the lights would be a nice addition to, you know, letting people know that we're up and that we're thinking of them and that we're part of the town.
Okay, and nothing blinking, right?
Nothing blinking, it's all white lights. It's all very simple. I told them quaint New England town. It's a historic building as well, so there's guidelines there. You can't, you have to be careful even about holiday decorations with historic buildings in town. So yes, they're just, you know, the white lights, and it's edging the roof line, and the bushes, and some of the arches that we have as well, putting an accent on those.
Megan, how much will it be annually then afterwards?
So after that, it's 2,000 a year for them to come, store everything, put it up, take it down.
And is that something to be rolled over to the town actually taking over eventually? In terms of setting it up?
Like the DPW?
I guess. I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Or town budget, you mean? I mean, cause you know,
Because
do we
2,000
want
seems like
a
a lot,
2,000?
really.
Yeah, do we want a $2,000 grant in perpetuity kind of thing?
My
We
question
have
would
plenty
be-
of money. I don't,
My question would be, how long has this outfit been in business and what happens if they go out of business? Not to be a
Megan,
dead.
like with the
Megan,
lights?
can you please unshare your screen so that we can see everybody?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
Hold on, it's just gonna take me a second. How do I do this? Oh, that's easy, stop share.
Thank you.
Well, we'll own the lights, right? So that if they went out of business, the lights will be ours?
Yes, we own the lights, yep.
Steve, what do you think? You're muted.
Margie asked if I could use Zoom in the home, and she could mute me periodically. I like the idea because we want to market the library and make it feel like it's with the times, and not that holiday lights are with the times, but I just think hasn't been done before, and so people will notice it. I mean, you could maybe do it one year and not the next and see if anybody comments.
Well, I suppose too, that would be right. We wouldn't have to do it every year. I mean, we would have spent the money this year, but if we wanted to take a year off or weigh the worth of it, there's no obligation, correct?
Is
There's
the
no
3,100?
obligation. We haven't signed a
the-
contract that says, you know, we're gonna do
Right.
lights every year.
Mhm.
Is the 3,100 for the whole building, just the front facade, or for the entire building, including like the rec area and all that kind of stuff?
Not the rack. So our front area facing the top parking lot, and then the side facing Ripley Road. And then the few little trees up the walkway that's facing Sawyer. So it's 3 sides, except for the roof lighting is not on Sawyer's side.
And a final, this is again, because I'm such a Debbie Downer. So let's say some of the light bulbs go kerplunk this year. Do they guarantee that they're going to replace them, fix them, make sure that each string, even though they're ours, will be in working condition the following year?
They're all guaranteed, which is why they store them, because they don't want us storing them and destroying them, and then they have to guarantee them the next year. So that is why they store them, because they guarantee the lights.
And what's the term of the agreement? I mean, is it, would we be able to make a decision down the road, or do they want you doing it for a certain number of years? Are you agree, what are you agreeing to, I guess?
We just agreed to this year. There's no contract that says we do this every year for the next 10 years or something.
Have you already signed the contract?
Yes.
Let's go with it.
We have plenty of money. It's a nice thing to do. It's been a tough year for people. You know, it'll be nice for the kids to come to the library as a destination, to walk through the story walk, see the lights. We talked about doing like a drive-by, you know, we aren't really sure yet, but some type of drive-by activity as well that goes with it. You know, it keeps the idea of the library alive, and that we're part of the town, and that, you know, we're spreading a little cheer. I think it's a really nice thing. It's a town initiative. Christine's asked other departments to do the same, to try to brighten up everybody's year a little bit, make efforts to do that. And you know, the library's had a reputation of you know, not being team players, and I think it's important that we join this initiative and we are part of the team.
I like the idea, Megan, and I wonder, expanding on your idea of doing the drive-by, or I wonder if you could maybe do a drive-in and have sort of a ceremonial lighting or something that could be programming. It's something that would approximate in-person programming for the kids.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Well, so we are doing, Christine's doing a reading of one of the children's holiday books in front of the fire at the senior center. We're going to do a virtual recording of that. But something along those lines, if we did a drive-in and Chief Quigley, you know, read a story on the front steps of the library or something like that. Yes, I think that's a great idea. And that's exactly what I'm trying to achieve, is something, you know, that's outside the library, that's special, when people really, I mean, they'll be able to come in a little bit by appointment, but at a time when people haven't been able to come to the library to still enjoy using it.
I will just say that I think it's a really nice idea. I think, you know, we're always so cautious about money that even like spending $500 on anything, you know, like we're just such New Englanders in that way, that I think, you know, just throwing out that number seemed a little shocking, you know, at first. So I
agree. And I was shocked when I saw it too, to be honest with you. But
I'll just add to that. My issue is, having gone in front of capital budget so many times to try and get money from the town and been told no, you know, and that's why we're so damn careful with our grant money, and why we were saving it and everything, because the town has not, you know, other than our you know, standard budget, it's been hard to get any support from the town because there's so many needs. And so that's why I'm, you know, I think it's important to talk about these things, especially, you know, a $3,000 nut, not to mention, I'm sure the card is going to be another couple $1,000s to print and mail, if not more, you know. So I just think it's important that we talk about these things. I don't, you know, have a problem with the idea. I actually think it's festive and fun. It's just, you know, something to get used to. And it, you know, in terms of whether, you know, if we have limited funding, is this what we want to invest in for our building? That's all.
Megan, did you think about asking the Friends to contribute?
I haven't yet, but I have thought about it. I think the Friends,
obviously I don't, you know, I don't speak for the Friends in this setting, but you know, if it could help defray,
yep.
And especially if we could add a programming component to it, that might at least give you somewhere to go in that argument, in that conversation that Carolyn's bringing up, which, you know, it might give you some cover.
Yeah,
I mean, it's okay, right? You know, to your point, it's not like we have now done our furniture project. and so, you know, we do have a sense that we have some funds left to play with, you know, and who knows when we'll be able to have people sitting on the furniture anyway. But also when the time comes, you know, our vision has been to, you know, build off the back of the library. And, you know, having been involved in the town hall plans, it's really expensive to pay for those architectural plans. And, you know, if we're going to have a chicken and an egg problem, if we want to go to town meeting and say, hey, we've got this vision, it will be easier to sell it if we can have some sort of sketches to show people. And so we'll need to be able to
Pay for those.
have, you know, we'll need to have some money to be able to get something, I think, in order to take the next step. So, you know, just trying to be forward thinking and not just think that we have a lot of resources at our disposal. That's all.
Sure.
I was
I
interested.
also want to note too, quickly, that I think, you know, times are changing a little bit. If you take a look at the budget that was just approved for the library, it was a significant increase. So, you know, I don't want to say that's going to happen every year, but we're starting to get noticed, and doing things like putting up lights. When we go to capital budget, people are going to feel like we're more part of the community. You know, maybe it's part of our strategy to, you know, show that we're team players, so that maybe they're willing to fund us a little bit more because they feel like we're working with town hall.
I think you were being very diplomatic that we were historically not seen as team players. And I think that's a big issue. I think about when Chris Sr. came and sat in our historical room and looked around and said, this is the nicest room in town, with a little bit of edge to it. And now he's encouraging us to do seasonal things. I think also we need to respect the diversity of religions. Maybe we can have something on Jewish holidays, Muslim holidays. But I really like the idea, Catherine's idea of integrating it with programming. And but I hate to think that there would be a continued feeling that we are not team players.
And I don't think they think about us that way all the time, but I think there has been perception in the past. So, you know, I don't think that's the only reason to do lights, but it is one of the reasons why it would be nice. And hopefully to draw some more patrons in. Oh, the library looks nice. I haven't been there in a long time. I wonder if my library card's active. You know, that type of thought.
I feel like we've had a thorough discussion. Does anyone have anything else they want to add? And if not, if you want to finish your report.
Okay, and just one last good news. So along with the select boards, one of their goals this year is to increase diversity and inclusion programs. And so I've worked with Nicole from Safe Harbor and Nancy from the Senior Center, and we booked Temple Grandin to come.
Really?
Yeah, she is coming in March. We just starting to sign the paperwork. I'm not even really supposed to announce it yet, but I'm gonna, because I'm so excited. So we're having her come in March because it's also Women's History Month, just to tie that in a little bit. We feel that, you know, she is wonderful, and I think she'll give a really nice program. We got a little bit of grant money to be able to host her, and we're all working on the marketing together. So we're really excited. And
Is this going to be virtual?
It's a virtual. It's a virtual right now. So the Zoom platform for the town allows 100 people. So we're working with Ron to expand our subscription so that we can allow more people to this program. It will be registration only, and we'll send out the link to people. But you know, it's going to be hard to stop people from sharing links. So we're anticipating a big crowd, and we're currently at the library making sure that we have all Temple's books and materials, and I think this is going to be really nice, and hopefully draw a similar crowd, if not more, than Steve Bowen did. So this will be a really great program. And now I feel exceptionally cool because the the booking agency that works with Temple also works with like Magic Johnson and all these super fancy people. So I feel really cool now that I can be like, oh, let me just call my people about Magic Johnson and see if he's available for your event.
Yeah. So will
Magic Johnson was 60,000, so we couldn't go with that, but.
So will you be moderating with her? I mean, what's the format going to take?
So she's just straight speaking. I'm looking for the speech that she's gonna do specifically. Sorry, hold on one second. I think I have it in my report. Nope. So she's speaking, so she does work with, if you're not familiar with her, so she does, she's an autism advocate. She has autism, her Asperger's herself. And she also works with animal behavior. So she's going to speak more on autism, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna look this up so I don't pass this off. There was multiple. It was a personal look at Asperger's and autism, and pardon me. So yeah, it's called The Way I See It, a personal look at Asperger's and autism. So, and she's going to talk about the different abilities that folks have who have autism, and best ways to communicate and things like that. I think it would be, you know, we're hoping to connect with the schools and, you know, make it be an assignment that you attend for the kiddos who are still doing virtual programming. So we're thrilled. I'm still ironing out some details, but she has said yes to March 23rd. So. And that's it for my report.
Awesome, thank you. With that, we move to the bills. Bronwyn, is there anything that we need to know?
So this month we have 2 warrants because I had to do an interim warrant for just 1 invoice, which was for a graphic novel program that Megan D ran, which actually turned out to be really successful, and the timing didn't work out to get it on the previous warrant, and he's already done the program, so we wanted to pay him as soon as possible. So Carolyn signed off on that, but everyone needs to vote to approve that. And then I just have the longer monthly, the usual one. That's pretty standard, unless anybody has any questions. Doesn't seem to be anything out of the
Did
ordinary.
the coffee maker go kerflooey?
I'm sorry?
Did the Keurig go kerflooey? I mean, did it break? The Keurig, I was just wondering.
Oh, well, we got one for the back room because the one we're going to dismantle the one that's in the community room if we decide to open that up so that people can come in, and it's connected to water. It's a kind of a much higher level Keurig machine. So we just got a small one for the staff for the back room. And,
We don't want the public coming in and trying to use the Keurig machine. So we need to take it down and get it out of the public area, and it's not one that can be converted to not using water.
Hardwired.
Yeah,
The
it's
water
hard,
is
it's hard
plumbed.
pipe, but can we just cover it? Because wouldn't we want to use it eventually again?
I think we will. We'll store it, and then when we do open up again, when it's safe for people to share something like that, then we'll reinstall it.
Because that one's relatively new too. Did we buy that last year?
I think so. Yeah, the Friends did. Yeah, and the town.
But do you
installs
need
it.
to move it, or can you just, put like a cover over it, like a teapot cover?
Like a grill
you know?
cover.
Yeah, like a grill cover, exactly.
We could put a grill cover or a cover over it. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Either
No,
way
no,
is fine.
I mean, I'm just thinking.
Yeah,
that
no,
mean,
I haven't really looked at it too closely. I don't know a lot about plumbing and that kind of thing. My concern is it's sometimes better to just not give people the opportunity to take the cover off and, use it. So if it's simple to do, I think it might make more sense to just store it. But if it's going to become an issue where we'd have to get a plumber to come in or something like that, then yeah, that makes sense to just find an easier way to, tell people they're not going to have coffee. So yeah, that was that's what that was for.
gotcha. Were there any other comments or questions on the bills? And if not, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
And I guess we have to do a voice vote. So all in favor, Carolyn Coffey, aye.
Elaine
Linda
Roselle,
Giacomo.
aye.
Linda Giacomo, aye.
You're muted,
Megan.
Megan.
Megan Princey, aye.
Catherine Harvey, aye.
I think we got everyone right. Steve and Elaine went at the same time, but hopefully it was
Yes.
recorded. So the bills are unanimously approved. Bronwyn, I'll stop by tomorrow and sign.
Closed tomorrow, so
Oh, you're right. I was thinking it'd be Thursday. I will stop by Thursday and sign.
I actually work from home on Thursday, so have to do Friday.
I'll be there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll stop by Thursday or Friday, the end of the week. Great. I have to look at the agenda on my phone. My report. I don't really have a report, but the Adirondack chairs came and a ferry came and put up hay bales and mums and everything else. Was that you, Elaine?
No.
It was
No?
me.
Oh, it looks really nice. Very festive.
Have people
Um,
considered using them?
Actually, Bronwyn, have you seen anybody?
Seen some people, yeah.
I saw
Okay.
one person.
Oh, good. Okay. All right.
They made me happy.
I've seen a lot of staff using them, which is great. They sit outside and have their lunch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. They look wonderful.
Maybe a Facebook post to tie in the Wi-Fi. Because I
Yeah.
know you said you did make an announcement, or I saw when they arrived, but maybe another photo with the fall decorations and just a mention that the Wi-Fi reaches out there. Because not to go back to something that we already have closed, but just on the whole reopening, the one thing that I keep wondering about is, at what point do you think we're going to be able to reopen the study rooms and give people a place to work?
I don't, that's like, I don't know. I guess I don't know.
I mean, it's so appointment driven. I just keep wondering if that's been part of the discussion, or if you've been thinking about, if that's been part of the discussion. Because I think could be a critical public service.
My concern about opening any of the study rooms and the meeting rooms, and I can always revisit because this was a concern a few months ago, was the learning pods. I didn't want the library to turn into the spot where all the learning pods came.
Oh, right. But just one at a time, like just one
Yeah.
person to come in to book for an hour or 2 hours to have a quiet room with a good Wi-Fi where people can literally just get out of the house to work for a short amount of time. I would not envision having groups at all.
Right. Yeah, so it would just be a matter of, I guess, policing that to make sure when people sign up that they understand that they're coming by themselves. So we don't turn into the tutoring spot / pod spot type scenario. But I understand what you're saying, and you're right. It is something that people, and especially as it gets cold, you know, if
Yeah.
if it was nicer out, you know, we could advertise more of our outside area.
Especially if,
think
you know,
that
if they're
through.
young children and 2 working parents, you know, one could slip out and take a Zoom meeting without noise in the background, that sort of thing.
I'm seeing that
That
at
would be
home.
nice.
My son comes down to our house in order to get away from his work at home wife, 2 kids and a nanny and a puppy. So we find him working here. So if the library had a quiet room for a Zoom call, he'd love it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it was just, we're splitting the Wi-Fi all the time in my house. We've got, you know, 1 student 3 days a week remote, of course, 1 working, you know, remote. And, you know, if I have to do something, it's like, I'm like the lowest man on the totem pole, but, you know, it's constant shuffling. And, you know, that's sort of the story in every household to one degree or another.
I
Yeah.
really like the idea of one person as a way of marketing us again.
Mhm. Let me, I think it's an interesting thought. I hadn't considered it in a while. I hadn't reconsidered it in a while. So I also want to reach out to the workstation and maybe see what their protocols are, if they have any in place. That might be somewhere I could pull, you know, steal what they're doing and implement it at the library and see what their
Well, and maybe something that we could think about, I mean, just thinking of the way in which we do the museum passes, maybe, and I guess this is a question for the Friends, maybe I should bring this up at a Friends meeting, but maybe something like a 1-day pass, you know, a pass for the workstation that could be used on a periodic basis is something that we could be offering also.
That's a good idea. I did meet with them, you know, probably this time last year at this point, to discuss with them what kind of partnerships we could create. They
I think
pointed
the
out that,
workstation is at a limited capacity, so they may be at like 25% of their members. So you should check in with them about that.
yeah. Okay.
So some food for thought.
Good
But
food.
I think too,
That's
that
a
if
good
you were
point.
going to do it, I think it would be pretty easy to communicate the limitations through the sign up. I mean, yeah, I suppose that's true. As people are coming in, that's something that you're, you know, that you're having to monitor. But, you know, I would hope that people would be a little, you know, obviously the awareness is there, you know, and you hope that people are being respectful and, you know, of the times.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a good idea. I think, you know, maybe once we open, that's something we can start to plan on or assess. I think everybody's going to behave just fine, but I think we have to prove that to everyone a little bit first and then expand. But I think it's a great idea. I can relate to the same scenario, so.
Also on communication, do you know the easiest way to find the shelf-worthy video? I went on the website because I wanted to watch some of them and I couldn't find them. I finally went on YouTube and did shelf-worthy Cohasset, and so there were only 2 views on like one of the episodes and stuff that I saw. It's like I think it'd be neat, like for Cake and Conversation and the shelf-worthy, if there's a way to promote those on our website so that they're easy to find. It might help for people who are looking for, you know, one of the sections like where Nick's pick it, there's a drop down menu.
Yes.
Bless you.
Sorry.
No problem. Bless you. There's a drop down menu, you know, with like book recommendations and stuff like that. Like, bless you. There'd be, you know, yeah, a link to the videos there would be great. Yeah, just making the programs that we have recorded and things like that, which are promotional materials, more visible on our website, I think would be awesome.
Okay.
If there's a way to easily do that. That is not my bailiwick, but I couldn't find it when I was looking, and that might be my problem. I'm not sure, but
No, that one in particular, actually. So we have all of our programs on our event calendar, and for some reason we weren't putting that one in particular on our event calendar. And so under every event like Cake and Conversations, it should have a link to the YouTube. So like, this is the event, here's the YouTube
but then you have to
page.
go back. Like I thought about that, and I went back to October to look at the Cake and Conversation, but it's like you have to think to go back a month
Yes.
in order to get it. You know, if there's a way to make it more exciting, you know, in our drop-down menus under programming, you know, here are the programs, and, you know, link to last month or the month before, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, I think
Yeah.
would be great. Maybe we would get some hits that way. And, you know, they can look at last month's Cake and Conversation and say, oh, that looks interesting. I'll sign up for this month. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Just a thought.
Yeah, especially as we do more programs, our YouTube page is starting to be a little bit unorganized and cluttered because there's so much on there now, and we just haven't curated it very well. So absolutely.
Sounds like a good job for Megan. Megan B.
Poor Megan.
I know. Thank God for Megan. And then the only other thing, going back to kind of funding, Megan, James and I were talking about CLT funds, and I guess she had a conversation with Steve. If we have leftover funds from the grants that we're getting from the CLT, if it doesn't all go toward materials this year, you know, are there, you know, do we want to make sure everything goes towards materials, or are there other things that we'd like to do with it? And maybe Megan, if you have thoughts you want to share on that.
Sure. So Bronwyn and I dove into this yesterday a little bit deeper. And what's happening this year, because we had such a large budget increase, our materials budget expenditure need has increased quite a bit as well. So where we thought there would be some extra money with the CLT takeout, there's actually not. So we need to spend 19% of our total budget on materials. And our total budget went from, I'm going to misspeak, but so this year it's at 723, and last year, Bronwyn, was it 670-ish?
It's in the 600s, I know that.
Yeah, I think it was the high 600s. So we've jumped probably between 60 and 50,000. So when we were doing the math yesterday, we found that really we're just hitting the mark exactly this year. Future years, I don't expect we're going to have such big. So our jump was in personnel for the most part, because they hadn't been funding the union promotions correctly over the last couple of years. So there was a big jump in personnel this year to make sure that it was in our budget. But what happened because of that is that our expected amount to stay certified also jumped up. It will level out more in the next couple of years, because I don't expect such a huge jump like we saw this year. So there will be money, I think, moving forward in the next couple of years, but this year we're really just hitting the mark between what we got from the town, which is 67,000, and the takeout was about 65,250 off the top of my head.
65.
Yeah. So unfortunately, there's no exciting conversation, maybe quite yet, about where we're going to spend all of our extra money. But maybe, I mean, we can still talk about it, but it's going to be more relevant next year, I think.
In the same topic, maybe I'll just mention, we are going to get another $2,200 over what the takeout was versus last year. It's going to be basically 65,350 that we'll have. Our portfolio took a huge hit in the first quarter we were at 1.8, dropped down to around 1.4, but we're already back to 1.7.
1.8.
So 1.8.
Yeah.
So that's real good news.
But so if our overall budget went up by 50 or 60, and our book budget went up by 10, if I remember correctly, right? So that would be almost 20. That would be about 20%. I would think we wouldn't.
Well, but book budget is included. So you don't take out the book budget and calculate
Yeah.
the funds. You have to keep it in, which is kind of wonky. I've always thought.
But the 10 in the book budget is part of the 50 or 60, right?
Yes.
Overall.
Yes.
So if we went up by 50,000, 20% of that is 10. So the increase in the book budget should be covering that.
It does. So it is covering. We're even Steven where we need to be. But there's just no extra money.
Okay. And so I guess I misunderstood when we were talking about this before. I was thinking that you didn't see yourself spending all of the takeout from the CLT. Do I misunderstand that?
So this year we do have to spend the entire takeout from the CLT because our municipal budget saw such a huge jump.
Right.
Next year, I'm assuming, if all goes the way that I want it to, we'll get a little bit more money in the budget for book money, but we won't see such a huge jump in personnel money that it won't be such a huge jump then on how much money we need to spend on books. So we'll be more in line to save a little bit money next year than to we won't be just on target. We should have a little bit left over, and that will start on a more regular every year, unless we see a huge increase again in the next couple of years, but I can't imagine. We were really just catching up a lot of the personnel. I think
we have to be careful too, because there's no guarantee that our payout from the CLT is going to stay as high. If the market tanks,
right,
we'll lose that money, and we don't want to risk getting decertified because we don't have that payout. So we'll have to manage that too.
Yes, and then at that point, if that happens, because we are looking at something like that possibly with COVID, right? That next year might be kind of a scary year for everybody. My view on it is I certainly don't want to be irresponsible, but at the same time, it's a rarity that a library is fundraising or has a trust to support being certified. That's not a normal thing. It's okay that we do it, but I think if we do get into a situation, I can't imagine the town's going to let us be decertified. While I'm certainly not going to be irresponsible, I'm also not panicked over it because most towns are not interested in having a decertified library, and if it's over a couple $1,000s, I think it would be reasonable to say that we would be supported.
I would agree. But I just want to make sure that we're, being smart about our planning.
I agree. And I think, we'll probably have conversations moving forward because it is almost time put our budget together for next year. But I think we are going to have a hard year. I know that state aid is taking a hit next year. We SAFE this year. We're certified and we're receiving a similar amount that we received last year in state aid, but I can imagine that that's not what's going to happen next year. So, it's definitely all things to consider and think about.
Do you have a feeling, Megan and Bron, when you want disbursement of the new funds?
I talked to Paula the other day, and still, I can't give you an exact day yet, but probably like usual, January or February. We're in good shape for for right now, we're still spending the appropriated money. So that's kind of where it's looking
Okay.
at right now. But we'll keep-
The only significance from the investment subcommittee is if we need the money before the investment subcommittee meeting in February, early in February, we're going to take it out of our cash,
Okay.
current cash, and that doesn't require any specific meetings to talk about new investments or new exits. And if it's after February, it would be helpful if, as you get into the budget, Bronwyn and Megan, just tell the investment subcommittee that it now looks like you won't need it until mid-February versus, so I think we're meeting February 4th, if I remember correctly.
Okay, we'll look at it again in another month or so and just see if we
Okay,
can
thanks.
narrow it down.
The CLT is meeting in 15 minutes. So there, other than what we've already talked about, there is nothing more to report. The Friends have anything to report, Catherine?
Not much. The appeal letter went out. You probably all got one. I think mine came today. So that, that's the main thing. We're just, see what that brings. And we've got the last inventory of our ornaments. Maybe some of you saw a Facebook post that Linda put up. So free home delivery is available. So if anybody is in need of a Christmas ornament, there are only 20 left. And they are lovely. So, and one of us would be happy to bring it right to your home. And that's about it. We heard Megan's report, and that's really, we're just sort of in wait and see mode. So we'll just see. We did welcome a new member who is our new corresponding secretary. I guess that was last month, Sandy Marquardt. So that's good. We're still actively recruiting also. So send us anybody you know. So I think that's about everything.
So does the seniors, does the senior center put up a tree? What if I buy one and we gift it to the senior center from the library?
That's an excellent idea. I don't know the answer to your question, but I think, and I don't know if anybody's going in there to see any kind of tree that they might put up. So,
right.
That's another query. But
Given the major
someday,
cost of a new ornament, I would be willing to equal Elaine's commitment for the senior center, since in this group at least I'm the only senior.
Well, I will send you both the link. I think we're doing by PayPal, or you can write a check. And Linda did up a nice, sort of posting for it. So I'll forward that to both of you.
Great. Thank
How
you.
much are they again?
And thank you. $20 a piece.
They were 40. I thought they were 40.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
I thought
You
they were
know,
more than 20
actually-
too. I was like,
I think
yeah, no, I think you
I'll
could
buy
be
a half
right.
a bulb.
I think I was conflating because
I'll buy the other half.
20,
There's
yeah.
20 left.
20,
left, there's
there are
40.
20 remaining. I was conflating my numbers there. You're absolutely right about that. They're 40.
That's okay. You can still send the link. I'll happily
Thank-
oblige.
Okay, all right. I'll send it off to you.
Thank you.
I'll just send it
All
to the
right.
whole group. How about that?
Yeah.
Send it along.
I mean, what if we we gift them to different like different town groups
That's a great idea.
as a
Like
nice,
one for town
as
hall.
part of our lights and the cards, and let's keep it going.
Yeah.
nobody's
I
I
mean,
think that's
we're-
really nice.
I'll
We're
uh,
team
players,
maybe
darn
put
it.
mine into the town hall then.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where else you
Um,
would go other than town hall and the senior center.
Fire station, police station.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice idea, actually.
DPW,
Yes.
water department.
Mhm.
Very nice. Yeah.
What
you're
if
right,
we
you're right.
gift them to the departments that's helped us out this year? So like facilities gets one, and
That's a great idea.
police
Yeah.
and fire, yeah.
Where would you, where would you
DPW.
like, which is most important, Megan, from your perspective?
DPW.
Facilities, DPW, yep, yeah,
Okay.
we
Well,
must
that's what
be
I meant,
friends with them
facilities,
all
yeah.
the time, yes.
Think of it as like, instead of the White House ornaments, these are the library ornaments, and
Right.
they go out to people to thank them for all the good work they do during the year.
Yep.
I think
Facilities,
it's a
town manager.
great idea. I think that's a great idea. Well, Megan, why don't you email me a list, and then, you know, we'll sort of total it up and I'll circulate it among the trustees and we'll figure it out from there. Does that make sense?
That's a great idea.
Thanks.
I like it.
Love it. Good.
Sold. Okay. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to bring up before we adjourn? And if not, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye, I don't think we
Aye.
need a roll call for this. All right, we are adjourned. We can stop recording.